Hello, Tungsten Miner here. I have been carrying on with the construction of my house, and I didn't quite get all the flooring in, but I actually got quite a lot of interesting stuff going on. So as you can see, I did get a lot of the flooring in. I've gone ahead and put down one layer of tile, so you can see this is the flooring, and then there's just one bit that makes up the tile flooring in there, which one spreads the material out pretty nicely, and two means that it's pretty easy to come by and just scoop up what I don't want. So, for example, I can just say grab that tile off, and now I've got the subfloor right there. So the building is largely intact, and very little has actually changed. I've just picked up that one piece of tile and I can replace it with something else. So if I change my mind later on, things get pretty easy. And sun is going down, so let me take a nap here for just a moment. The other thing I've spent some time on is this spiral staircase. Now remember, that had always been my intention, is to have one at the end here. So now I do. So let me talk a little bit about how this was constructed. First, I did it all wrong. I had this first step be across here, and it turns out in order to line up properly with everything up there, I needed it to be 90 degrees over. So not only did I build the staircase, I had to go and re-shift it by 90 degrees, which is a real pain in the neck. So first of all, you can see this bottom is the same support beam that I've been using elsewhere. And then I went and constructed this side over here, which you can't quite see anymore because it's buried under there. But I went up bisecting this pole straight across. I went up 6 bits, and then I laid down a layer of subflooring, which you can see in between each riser there. And then I added the oak on top. And as I went around, I made up all the pieces. So there's 1, 2, 3 pieces wide, and then another piece, and then another piece there. So every step winds up being like 5 different pieces, which is going to be inconvenient when I'm trying to move this over and mirror it on the other side. But in the end, what I decided, in order to get the rise that I needed to go up every eighth, so each step is really the same step, but you can see they alternate between having a flat face and having an angled face, having a flat face and an angled face. And then when I was done, I went and added the bull noses on only the flat ones. I could do it on these, but it's going to be more aggravating than it's worth, probably. And that gives me this nice staircase. And of course, as I mentioned, I built it the wrong way the first time, so I had to like take all of this middle piece and chop it all the way down, turn 90 degrees, and then build it back up again, which now meant it was out of phase with all the rest of the staircase. So then I used my positive chisel design to grab a piece, move it over, grab another piece, move it over, grab another piece, move it over, and then delete all the pieces that I had moved, reset my chisel designs, and start over again. Very, very tedious. I highly recommend doing things properly the first time. The lesson learned, I guess, is that this really has to line up here. It's not arbitrary where this platform lands. Whereas on the bottom, since it's the same all the way around, it's just one big flat surface, there's no landing that I have to arrive at, I could have done it anywhere. So what I really should have done is to start at the top here, bring this landing out, and then work my way down the staircase, which I didn't do. Oh well. In here, I've got this one beam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was within the limits I had set myself of what I was willing to do without a support beam, but I actually kind of thought it would be nicer to just have this in here, and then have these go the opposite way. So the rafters go the long way, and then I've got the support beam that goes the short way. And then for this room over here, I've got kind of the same thing, except the span is a bit longer. Actually, I wanted a door here, so let me grab that and put another opening right there. There we go. And then over in my stockroom here, been building up my supplies and using them, building them up and using them. So this is the current state of the universe here. Over here, now that I've got the floor completely in place, I've got everything nice and organized. I've got all my food stuff set up, my armor. It's actually starting to look pretty cozy in here. Just about the time when I'm about ready to get the next floor built and won't need to be in here at all. I did go ahead and make myself a season clock so I can kind of tell what season it is. I still haven't entirely learned how to read it, so I need to go look that up. And apart from that, the other big change is fruit trees. So again, as I was noticing my food situation was getting a little dire, I went ahead and had a bunch of these that I had collected all over the place, just the fruit themselves or the nuts themselves. And all it takes with the current version of Harvestcraft is to have one sapling and then 3 fruits. And that will give you whatever you need for these guys. I've also got my bees going on, so Harvestcraft bees, a little bit simpler than forestry bees. It's a good time to show how this mechanism works. So having built my apiary, which is just any kind of planks with item frames down the middle. You go and find yourself a hive out in the world someplace, and having done that, you'll have a queen bee. Stick your queen bee in here, and eventually her damage meter will get down to 0, from 18 apparently. And then she will have hopefully produced at least 1 bee grub, and then you can take the dead bee, the dead queen bee, and craft her into royal jelly, which you can combine with a grub to get a new queen bee. Take your queen bee, drop her back in, and she'll begin producing again, and of course wearing down her life. But that's usually going to yield a decent amount of all of these things. What you then do is take them to a presser. I've got one down here in the basement, which of course will move upstairs eventually. And you toss your honeycombs or your wax combs into here, and as the presser presses, it's going to drop its outputs down here. And honey can be used interchangeably with sugar. It can also be made into these honey blocks for storage purposes. So all of the recipes that call for sugar of one kind or another can also use honeycombs. So it's a very convenient way of producing that. And then the wax combs produce these pressed wax pellets, which 1 can be made into a wax block for storage, and 2 can be used to make this hardened leather, which can be a nice early game armor. It's a bit more durable than regular leather armor. And then finally, combined with string, can give you some candles, which are a replacement for torches. So pretty handy there too. And I keep my honey over here so it's accessible. I keep my extra bee stuff over here because I don't know what else to do with it. And I will toss this over here. It looks like I've got some wax combs. The wax combs aren't good for anything except getting pressed, so just stuff them in there right away. No reason to hang on to them. Okay, so that is it. The spiral staircase was the big chunk of time here, but I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out. I'm intending to close it off so that you can't fall out, for 1, and 2, so that it makes a nice staircase. And so I'll be adding edges along here just to close things in a bit. And then as I go up into the rest of the building, I'll likewise have the similar kind of thing going on. But I wanted to leave it open for now so I could show you how it came together. And of course, now that I've built it once, I can use my positive chisel patterns to be able to just copy pieces of it and bring it over to the other side and just go round and round and round and build up the one on the other side, hopefully with a lot less trouble than it took me to do this side. Anyway, that's all for now. I will talk to you later.